Okay, we're live, sir.
All right, you savages. How do I sound?
Sound great.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's good. I'm wireless.
Nice, dude. Yeah, you sound fine.
That's excellent. I'm using the Google Pixel Buds Pro. What an improvement over my Apple. Huh.
Yeah,
Huh.
that Apple was like, that was trash, bro.
Dude, that was my
We used to call...
AirPods. Dude, that's my AirPods Pro 2.
Okay.
It's incredible. Yes, so Google's crystal clear. That's amazing.
Nice.
All right, you savages. Here's the deal. He's the cowboy. I'm the ape. And listen, you're listening to Algo Factory Tech, where we discuss all things markets, where we show you how to trade. And not only that, but we also show you how to build the algorithms that can go ahead and trade on your behalf 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Algo Factory Tech. Folks, 2024 is coming. Don't sit on the sidelines wondering if you can afford this. Don't sit on the sidelines wondering, do you have to be a math genius? No, you ain't got to do any of that. And Algo Factory is a steal at $1.66 per day for less than a price of a can of soda. For less than the price of bottled water, you can join Algo Factory and start learning something that is so vital, it could absolutely change your life. With that being said, cowboy, let's get into it.
All right. So I put that QR code up on the screen. Also, do us a favor if you're watching this on YouTube, like, subscribe, put some comments up in there. That helps us out a lot with the algos. I was on another show on Friday, and they were like, they would take about 2 minutes to get everybody to hit the like button. I was like, damn, dude, you guys really want those likes. So I don't know, maybe they make a big difference in the algos. At any rate, do that for us. So we want to take a look here at some data that came out this morning. I'm just going to jump right in here to the content. We got we have, I should be able to see that on the screen. Let's zoom in a bit. Let's make sure I'm zoomed in at the amount that I usually like. Yeah. So right at 6:15, the main refinancing rate for the EUR came out, monetary policy statement. Let me refresh just to see if the data pops up. That was at 6:15 a.m. So they're going to be at 4.5, which is what was expected. And then also there was no change, just like the U.S. Now the USD had some data that came out, and it came out economic strong. But it kind of seems like if this is true data, it's the unemployment claims are not that far. Well, they're about 10% below expected. Retail sales and those are all a little bit above expected. There was expected to be a contraction, but there was an expansion. So those are all positive, which should mean like dollar strong. That's usually what that's going to mean. Although I wouldn't look at the euro for that, because all the euro news and their press conference is like going on here in another 5 minutes. But if we were to say maybe look at the Aussie dollar, that might show us how that is reacting. Where's my AUD USD? It's so weird. So often my my dashboard, like, things disappear off of it. Let's zoom in anyway, and then I'll show you guys how to add an asset to your dashboard. So for some reason, my AUD USD is off. It should be on here. It's gone. So what we're going to do, first of all, we're going to broaden this out so it doesn't look so crazy. Clean up this chart here a bit. And then I'm going to do a plus symbol on the top here. So I call this thing FX tickers and top crypto, right? And I also have some of the indexes on top here. I hit the plus symbol. I'm going to hit AUD USD, type that in, and I like the OANDA, because that's where I trade. So I'm going to add to watch list. Just hit that plus button, and there it is. And then I can scroll to the bottom where it is and just drag it up to where I want it. So this happens. It's probably a button I pushed while I was, in a hurry or something like that. To look at the Aussie dollar, yeah, so AUD USD. So this kind of move down is an indication of dollar strong. Okay, so that's on a 3-hour chart. So let's see if it actually has to do with the data or if it happened on its own. Let's see. It's looks to be data dependent, maybe. 630. It's not a big move. It was already headed down. It just kind of increase that move down. Now, the euro itself, which is not on this chart, the euro is a pretty important, even now, a pretty important currency. So I'm going to hold off on any kind of trading until the euro is done. Plus, is there any more US stuff coming out? Let's take a look back at the calendar here. No. So all that's left at this point is the ECB press conference, and I imagine for, I don't know, 15 minutes they'll probably talk, kind of like yesterday with Powell. Now, yesterday was pretty wild. I don't know. V and I were talking, but we were talking about other things. V, were you watching gold yesterday?
No, I wasn't.
Oh man,
What's it at right now?
I meant to mention it to you, but you were in the middle of a lot of stuff. I didn't want to distract. Let's see. When you work with people, like, oh, we'll talk about this later. You know what I mean? But check it. That's yesterday after the Fed funds rate. So 1980 all the way up to like 2040.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a big move.
That was a big move.
That's a big move.
They're building a floor at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it is, so gold, I don't know if this is simply a machination. Let me look at what happened with gold. I should have to zoom out to a higher time frame here. But for those of you who aren't with us every day, we watch gold quite a bit, and because it does have a lot to do with the entire landscape. And gold this is the daily. I'm going to zoom out a bit, and we'll talk briefly about gold because I'm sure people want to see more crypto stuff right now. Crypto is pretty hot. But this is gold going back to 2020, and there is a point farther back here a few years ago where gold actually did, as the data is still populating here, but you see back in 2011, so at the peak of the GFC, the Great Financial Crisis, the post 2008, and by the way, right after 9/11, gold really popped up because gold is going to pop up anyway, right? But when wars happen, especially when the U.S. was ostensibly attacked, and that's being polite, it really peaked out. And then it calmed down after that. And it peaked out then at about 1913. So it didn't break 2000. And then over the last several years, as the dollar was devalued, eventually gold started to ramp up. First it calmed down from the GFC, the rest of the world, and everybody was under the idea that the US is going to be okay. And, the markets came back, and because nobody knows anything. And it's not to say the US isn't going to be okay, but I think the landscape is not as bright and cheery as so many think. But here you have gold ramping up. So after this 2015, end of 2015, beginning of 2016, I think that's when Trump got elected, if I'm not mistaken, at the end of that year. Yeah. You start to see gold head up, and then you see how it has been poking at this top for quite a while. And this top basically is about, say, nearly 2100. So 2080, 2075, and it did it 3 times. Once in, let's see here. Let's draw the top. And it happened once in 2020, 2022, May 2023. And then the very end of 2023, we actually had a hard move up where gold really, really poked up hard, and then it got slammed down. So, we're kind of thinking, okay, is it going to be another round of slammage? And that has a lot to do with what's going on around the world. We have some ideas at Algo Factory in the private room as to what we think gold is going to do. For now, I can tell you algorithmically, this is on the weekly chart. Gold still, it's high time frame bullish for sure. You look at the monthly, it just wants to go up. But right now it is at a vulnerable point where price usually retraces a bit. And anybody at Algo Factory knows the indicator I'm looking at. They can see it on the screen. But at this point it is vulnerable. So it could kind of continue down. But at this point, it's almost as if it might not continue down that far. The 2 key points that we're looking at to see if there is a move up, and this is going to be over months. We're not looking at for this week necessarily. Going to be about 1930 and 1800. if price goes below 1800, then that's an indication that the same kind of powers are in control, in my opinion. If price goes all the way down to say like 1600, that means like, okay, the same powers are in control. There's not a lot of change happening just yet, right? We have another round of this, and these tend to go for like 21 to 20. So these go for like a year at a time, right? This is kind of like almost like a yearly cycle. And I would not mind that. That would mean that we have more time to kind of get things together, right? To gather more assets. So for me, that's like gold. I like gold. It's a great asset for me. Crypto, also, it's great. That's my own thing. Do your, not investment advice, by the way. Do your own thing. Do your own research. But that is the look at gold. And so it's just in the last at the FOMC, we were like prior to FOMC, we were expecting gold to maybe kind of retrace a bit. We wanted gold to, we didn't want anything, but we expected gold to head down, kind of test these lows, test these supports, if you will. And FOMC really threw it up. Now, if gold is supposed to go down, right? If the algos and so on and so forth, if gold really is supposed to go down, then this move up was probably going to look like a bearish retest. So what is a bearish retest? Well, it happens all the time, and it's a really good trading thing to understand what a bearish retest is. Probably see if I can find something on a lower time frame to show you what a bearish retest. Here's a good one. All right. So bearish retest is going to be where price kind of creates this range a lot of the time. It's a consistent thing in markets. We talk about it at Algo Factory. So price created a range, right? And then it broke out of that range. Ranges are a little subjective. Sometimes I'll use the candle bodies. Like, for example, in this range, you'll notice that the wicks kind of protrude out from that, but it's an average, right? Because then you have these bottoms here that really don't match that. So a range is going to be a little subjective. And I do like to, I like to average between candle bodies and like lows from other areas. This way it's going to be a little more consistent of a range. And price will deviate like it did at the top out of this range, but for the most part, it stayed in there. And then price broke out of the range. So your bearish retest, right, is if you have an algo, ideally, and or if you're just watching price action, knowing that the high is like 2075 and then it's going to bounce off that high and go down, you have an idea that price may head down. However, what it might do on the way down is come back up to test that range. So let's kind of diagram the price action, right? You have this range that develops, and then price breaks down out of the bottom of the range, right? And then it comes back up to touch the range. And in this case, it's a little double top and then heads down and then starts to make its way down. And actually, this one double tested the range. So this is a bearish retest, right? So, it's basically price headed down, but it comes back up to retest the range. Bearish meaning price heading down. So that being a bearish retest, we can take a look at the current price action and see if that applies. Not as much of a range that got developed, right? I mean, it's there. It's just on a very kind of a lower time frame, if you will. Little range there, little range here. So if I were to drop down to a lower time frame, this is possibly range. It's hard to kind of say at this time frame, but it looks like it. Price has come back up and actually back into the range. It's like a giant deviation from a range almost, rather than a bearish retest. So I think we're going to have to see if price actually develops a range where it is right now. That's what may happen here. This might end up being like a larger time frame range with a very large deviation out of it. So it's a little soon to kind of call this a range or a bearish retest, but this is how we look at price, right? Now on a lower time frame, this one up here is going to be range. On a lower time frame, this might be a range, but we are looking at a higher time frame. Certainly, this is a little rangy, right? This kind of looks a bit rangy. And then price popped out of the bottom, did a bearish retest and headed down, but then eventually moved itself back up. So, and these ranges are very valuable. I've gone through using a particular indicator and an entire methodology, multi-time frame analysis, to show everybody in Algo Factory how I like to trade those. And it's a super valuable way to trade. Did you have something, V?
No. I was just clearing my nose.
You just like doing some beatboxing over there?
No, I was clearing my nose. I was snorting Parmesan cheese like Hunter Biden.
Oh, jeez, dude. Parmesan cheese. I could. That sounds terrible, dude.
Well, he did say that he smoked more Parmesan cheese than any other human in the world.
Smoke some kind of cheese. All right. So anyway, that's a kind of a look at gold and then a demonstration of a bearish retest, right? So actually, I'm gonna make a clip out of that today. So yeah, take some notes. 1 second. And if you're watching this, what I'll do is I'll take from these videos, and sometimes I'll even go from the private as long as it's not something that's like privileged. And when I say privilege, I don't mean legally. I'm just talking about stuff that we keep in our private group. I don't know. I must have done something with my sticky pad. I'm a sticky pad guy. I got stickies all over the place.
I don't want to know what you do with your sticky pad.
Well, yeah, you would think that way.
Yeah.
Ah, damn it, dude. Oh well, I guess I'll have to go by memory and find my sticky pad later. I hate that, man. I'm usually I'm like not as organized right now, but I still stay pretty organized. And I guess I just took my sticky pad for a ride. All right, whatever. Point here
being
is
a Virgo, it might drive you insane that you're not organized at the moment.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, I'm organized, but
it's like gnawing at your brain right now.
My disorganization is most people's organized.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you,
I'm married to a Virgo, man. I know how you guys are. You guys are crazy.
We're nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are nuts.
Like I'm nuts. And my wife she's a little more lax on those kind of things. Although she's my wife's actually more of a perfectionist than I am, believe it or not. But and if we're gonna go astrology, she's like a Leo Virgo cusp. She's right on the edge. So yeah. So if I mean, astrology is astrology, right? Like you're going to have a group of guys whatever group of people say like, oh, it's Satan. And then you're going to have another group of people say, hey, why not? I'm kind of on the group of, hey, why not? I don't think it's something that's like,
I don't think it's satanic at all.
No, not satanic by any means. I don't think it's something that, so how's this? Like, Billy Carson, who Cool Cat and I like to listen to. He's a super smart dude. I think Velas might like Billy Carson if he hasn't heard him yet already. He's in Ancient Civilizations. He gets deep, and dude is smart as hell. And one of the things
he's a former MIT guy. He's an MIT engineer. He was an engineer scientist at MIT. This guy, he's not dumb at all. Trust me.
No, dude, very smart as a whip. And so he, one of the, when I say that, I mean, it's one of the reasons I say he's so smart is because when you listen to his interviews, all that information's on lock. Like it's all, he's not reading anything. He just pulls it out of his head. And he's super logical. Anyway, so what he talks about is you take frogs into space, and he said like he didn't really believe in astrology at all. He's like, nah, it's, I'm a scientist. Like, it's not my thing. Although, whatever. So he didn't believe in it. And then he said that he read a study where they took frogs into space, and depending on the gravitational pull, I think, of the moon and the earth would determine their gender. So, I mean, if you have stars in space that are exerting energies, and I mean, look, energies are energies, man. So why not? You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of on the camp of why not. I'm sure Jet would not like to hear that, but whatever.
No. My thing is this. This is what I believe, right? I believe like before there was scripture, so to speak. We do know that in ancient civilizations that God communicated to man using what's known as the Mazarek, which is basically the celestial bodies, right? The firmament, so to speak, right? That's mentioned in scripture. And that was before the written word. In fact, the story of Job, which is the oldest story, it's not the oldest book, but it's the oldest story in the Bible, is referring, the word Mazarek is used within there, describing the firmament in which the way the creator God would communicate with mankind. Of course, over time, these things are all lost, and then we have to go to a written word and so on and so forth. But here's what I believe, right? I believe that in certain, like, for instance, like people always think that December 25th is the birth of Jesus. I don't believe that at all. I think Jesus was born in September because that's the month of Sukkot. That's when all the people of the world, or I'm sorry, the Jews would return to their homelands for the Festival of Tabernacles, where they will all, dwell under the tabernacle, and it would be the perfect time to do census because that's when all the Jews come home, right? So the Feast of the Tabernacle falls in the month of September. What is September? It is the astrological sign of Virgo. And what is Virgo? Virgo is what? The Virgin, right? So there's these. So the celestial bodies mean something. That's number one. Number two, I believe that when you're born, whatever is the energy or the gravitic fields or the energy fields, whatever's happening within the cosmos that is causing these energies and frequencies to crescendo to Earth at the time of your conception, I believe there's some sort of hardwiring into your DNA in some regards, not in all this stuff, but some regards. This transcription is going on that kind of forms your behavior and character and the way that you think and the way that you are. Because there's something to it. Now, there's that saying that I don't know if that quote that you pulled up was by J.P. Morgan or somebody else that says that millionaires don't believe in astrology, but billionaires do.
Pretty much.
So there's something to this, folks. You can wish it away as a Sunday morning cartoon funny papers or whatnot, but there is something to this. It's wild, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. I was gonna talk to you offline on that, but damn, dude, I don't know what I did with my sticky notes, man. Driving me nuts. Dude, I got data, man. I got no most any of the important data is already pulled off of there. But yeah, I've done something with it. I'm sticking out. Yeah, Job. Cool Cat says Job 38. Not sure what that comes to, but
that's the Mazarek that I was talking about.
The Mazarek.
Yeah, the Mazarek, man.
The Tesseract. And now the flat earthers have taken the firmament and they've made it their own thing. I guess I didn't know anything about flat Earth, but when you're on like Twitter, because now we're using Twitter for
that's a brilliant idea. Moron had a brilliant idea. A little more religion. We can file as a 501c3 church.
Dude, why not?
We will be known as the Simeons.
We already have the Trash Pandas.
Oh, that's what we'll be. We'll be the Church of the Trash Pandas.
Yeah, we already are. I think our I know he's kind of quiet these days as far as his public image, but our legal guy actually, I believe, filed for us. Yeah, that's him.
And we will officially be the Church of the Trash Pandas. I want to be a cardinal in the Church of the Trash Pandas.
Yeah, I think that's. I'll talk to Velas and I know Balaj, like I say, he's kind of out of the space right now, but we see him. Yeah, I talked to him in the background. He's a super guy. Trev says, with the lunar energy, ask anyone who works on a psych ward, full moon if it's a thing. All right, you know what? Okay, we're gonna bring this into trading. So if you go to TradingView, and I know Cool Cat likes this one, go to TradingView indicators, right? And then you click this little button on the top, and you do moon phases. Look, Luxago did this. I talked to Luxago in the background. He's a good guy. And he makes really good indicators. He actually gave me access to a bunch of his stuff. So this is moon phases. Look at this. He developed this. You see this on the bottom, that's your full moon. You see it on the top, that's your new moon. And so after the full moon, or sorry, new moon to full moon is red. Full moon to new moon is blue. And you can correlate price action here. So, it doesn't always work, but it often works. I can tell you that right now. And he even has a strategy. So these blue and red arrows, those are entries. And then the purples are exits. So you can actually test this on the strategy tester. And you can see that at least for up after a certain point, I can't tell the date on this. What is this? 83. So after trade 84, it actually really works well. So there was something that wasn't going well from start to finish. Let's see, a lot of profit on this. Profit percent 47% is really good. That's great. I mean, even though it's just below 50%, it's at a 1.7 for profit factor. So that means that for every $100 that he puts in, he's making. It's like his risk to reward on average is 1.6, right? So we'd have to do a proper expectancy calculation. But long story short, over 100 trades, He's got a net profit of 93,000 on an account. Let's see, what's the account starting out? I'm not really seeing what the equity at 100,000. So basically, he doubled his money in, I don't know how long this period is, but what we can do is go to a list of trades and look at the, are we having our dates? Okay, so 12/12, date time 2023. Now remember, this is just a simulation of trades. It's not what he really trades, right? But you can go back all the way to October 2017 at start, first trade. No, that's the first price long. Okay, so he lost the first one, it looks like. Drawdown. So it looks like during a lot of this time period, it was a lot of losses. That's why you see over in the performance or in the overview, you see kind of these losses in the beginning. And then it just stays flat, wins, losses. And then here at this point around trade 50 or so, it starts to get into deep drawdown where he ended up 33,000. This is all theoretical. It's not necessarily real. But then after the breakout, it's profitable. So something about between trade 84 and say trade 120. That's a good time to look. So we'll go to trade 84 and we'll go to 120 and we'll see what those dates were on the strategy tester.
Yeah.
So 84. Okay, so that's 21. So 2/11/2021, right? So we'll mark that up here. 2/11/2021. This is 2023. So August to 21, July, April. So February. Okay, so from here, and then what do we say? Let's go back to our strategy tester. Performance summary, overview. And then up until about, I'd say, it's profitable all the way through, but a severe up ramp right here. So we'll call it here at trade 100. So 85 to 100 was a severe up ramp. So I'm kind of showing you all how to use this strategy tester. We'll get into some of the issues with the strategy tester in a minute, and I know we have to run over to the private side. So we'll kind of take a break here in a minute, but up to 100 we'll look. Okay, so up to trade 100 was a very profitable time. So we'll look at, let me see here. The date was October 20th, we'll say, of 21 is the end of that period. October 20th, right here. So what we could do using the strategy tester is we can look at the conditions between these two periods with this yellow and this yellow. That's when things were super profitable. And I could tell you what it is. Price had done its run up after 2020, and Bitcoin was done being extremely volatile. And the high time frame volatility fell. Right? If we look at ADX, I can almost guarantee you ADX is headed down during this period. Now, it probably heads back up as Bitcoin dumps. So I'll bet you if we look at strategy tester from say 9 November, so November to June of the next year, you'll probably see a tick up in volatility, right? And a tick down in the profitability. So from 100 to probably 110, around about there, who knows? But the point here is that using the strategy tester, looking at the performance, especially on the overview, watching that the balance of the account go up, right? Watching a huge upward movement of profit, you can see, and you could even look, say, from trade 50 over to trade 80. I can guarantee you that's this move up in Bitcoin, where Bitcoin became very volatile. So the moon and the sun, I'm sorry, the new moon, full moon, the full moon calendar, that's going to work better when when Bitcoin's not expanding so much. And that makes a ton of sense because when Bitcoin itself is expanding, it's going to override a lot of normal market forces, right? It's just expanding. People are FOMOing. That's that. But when the entire market calms down and reaches an equilibrium, then people are buying and selling based on whatever calendar. And the lunar calendar is a good thing. Even with the euro, as we are getting ready to hop over here. But you can tell, if you just look at this, there are patterns, certainly. So you just have to take a look at whatever asset you're into and find out whether or not the lunar pattern really has some kind of effect. right? Because it can get overridden during times of high volatility. So that's how I look at these things. Just a clue as to how to use the strategy tester. The strategy tester is actually not like the numbers it provides, and I've been using it a lot lately. My coder in particular has been using it a lot, and it's just the data is not as accurate when it comes to comparing to real-time trades. But what it can do is it can take one iteration of your trading method, your algo, and it can compare it to another iteration and determine which one of those is probably going to be more profitable. The problem is the numbers it's going to provide are not necessarily accurate. So your hit rate, your profitability ratio, those things may not be accurate, but from iteration to iteration, they're both inaccurate in the same way. So you can say, well, this one is better than that one. That's how that works. So I'm going to go ahead and end it now. Gorilla, if you could please give us that send off to the private, and we will move forward.
Absolutely. Listen, you guys, join us, algofactory.tech, algofactory.tech. It is the place for you to really take hold of where you need to be going into 2024. So listen, don't sit on the sidelines. Make it happen for yourself. Join us, as Darth Vader would say. And we're out.